We got confused before about it being 4 a.m. But that's all good. And just wanted to let you know what I do. It's an online publication, futurebpm.com, catering more to the underground rather than the usual stuff you read about. And Garo at Rooftop has been providing me with some great music over the years, and I do some radio out here in Hartford as well, so that's a little bit about me and where I'm from. Let me just make sure I got this tape device going here, and it looks like it's going, and we'll start the interview right now.
Oh, okay.
Okie doke. What makes Drexciya tick? What's the idea behind the music?
Let me see. Well, basically the ideal is just spontaneous, just being spontaneous, and whatever comes, just go with the flow, and basically just load up the equipment and start working, and whichever way you go, that's where we're going to end up, and we make it happen. There's nothing that's planned, there's no set course. So basically the mystery of the unknown is really what makes us tick. The curiosity of not knowing where we're going to end up at, once this track is done or once this album is done, and so forth and so on, because we never plan a course on where we're going with a particular project. So it's mainly the unknown is what makes us tick. It's like living on the edge with it.
Right. Okay. And you've always done things your own way. You don't follow the so-called traditional rules of the industry. You release music when you feel like it. Like you said, there's no planning of anything. And it's completely done the way you want it to be. This is proof that the war without weapons, in my view, is succeeding. How do you do it?
Well, basically the way you do it is just believe in what you do. And, you really have to have big kahunas, and you got to understand, and you have to weigh up, your pros and cons, because a lot of things that you're going to lose a lot of perks, you're going to lose a lot of things by doing it like this.
Right.
But it's up to you if you're willing to sacrifice these things or not. If you're not willing to sacrifice it, then you're not going to be able to do these things that we do. And how we're, not signed to a label, and we basically jump wherever we want to go. And like I said, even if we deal with a major or whatever, conditions still have to be right on our terms on the way we want to do things, because if not, it's not going to come out right, and I'd be damned if I do that.
Right.
So, that's basically, the way it goes, so.
Cool. And on that same note, a lot of people today argue that signing up with a major label is the way to go, and they further argue that it exposes the music to a larger audience. But you've done neither of that, and you've released music on leading underground labels like UR, Drexciya, and a handful of other independents like Warp, Reflex, Shockwave. And at the same time, your music is known all across the globe in the underground community without any help from majors. Is this kind of your way of saying it could be done without the big money and kind of selling out, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. Well, first things first, we'll go backwards with this. I don't really call it selling out.
Mm-hmm.
What it is a personal choice, because different people have different ways of producing music, doing business, the way they have their visions and their concepts, even if they have a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need to be taken under somebody's wing to where they need a record company to give them a team of people to help them with their concepts and show them where to go and what to do and so forth and so on, and they're just a worker and they just do it. But then you have those who are leaders or whatever who, it's kind of hard to deal with a record company, because record companies want to do everything for you and tell you what to do and how to dress, how to talk, how to walk, and take you to different places, and you just work. But if you're a leader, you can't work on those kind of conditions unless you find a label that's going to work with you. So in other words, as far as selling out, I don't think it's really selling out.
Okay.
It's just their personal choice, and And if this is something that they can deal with, fine. But like I said, even with that, you're going to give up something, which you just might lose the creative edge of your music. If you came out a certain way, you just might lose it because they might want you to change it.
Right.
And it's up to you if you're going to say yes or no. Now, as far as like I said, dealing with a lot of different companies and whatnot, that is a good way of saying, like, look, you really don't need the majors to do this, because basically it's getting back to the point that I said from day one. It's not about me. It's not about the record companies. It's about the music. The music is the reason why so many people in the underground has latched on to Drexciya, because it's the music and what it says. And that's the thing that about a major, if they want a piece of this and they really want the true underground, they're going to have to bag off and, get with the ones who are the leaders and so forth and so on, and let them do their thing. Just put the money behind them and get it there. But you can't change the idea. You can't change the focus of it. So there's no problem with having like about 2 or 3 million people into your music. Just don't change it.
Right.
Don't change what you're all about, and so forth and so on. So there's certain principles. I mean, hey, one thing is that you have to cut out, you can't be on TV. So that's one thing as far as I'm concerned. Doing interviews and so forth and so on, there's nothing wrong with it, because you have to have some kind of information for people to understand and to keep them abreast of what's going on. That's the reason why I'm doing interviews at this particular time, because there's a lot of information that, that people need to know, and after this, there will be nothing else to say. So.
Right. Exactly. And it's been close to it's just been about 2.5, almost 3 years since you released your last LP. You sporadically release music, but 2001, 2002 time frame here saw some other releases involved with Drexciya, such as Translusion and The Other People Place.
Right.
And were those projects you were involved in, or how did that all work?
Well, actually, what that is, they're like those two particular records, those two groups and records are part of Storm's of Harness the Storm Drexciya LP. Because altogether there's 7 LPs, which I call them Storms. So far you have The Other People Place, and you have Translusions, and you have Drexciya, the Harness of the Storm, which basically is the first one. But like I said, it's uncharted to where there's no particular order that they're going to be released in. The records are already done. And right now, Storm number 4 is due up next to blow up on the coast of off of Portugal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which means there's another record label I'm dealing with. And there's certain reasons why I deal with certain record labels, because I want to see what's going to happen or whatever. All the record labels that I dealt with has different strengths, in other words. And it's a particular reason why I'm doing that. But, that's part of an experiment that I'm doing. And after that, there's going to be 3 more. Like I said, they're already ready. They're just waiting to come down the line. So.
Very cool. And with the albums or the Storms, like Translusion, just looking at like the song titles and stuff, focuses more on like the inner mind and human feeling, like the opening of the cerebral gate, and also with the other whereas the Other People Place seems to focus on more human elements like love and romance.
Right.
How does this all relate to the other Storms? Are you exploring more of the human aspect? How's that all working?
We're going all over the place. We're hitting everything. Drexciya, we give you a 360-degree angle of everything. And that's the reason why we did this, because each one of them is totally different. And that's the point that we wanted to, well, that's not one of the points. That's just what we wanted to have the people view, is that there's a lot of different angles to this. And we want you to feel each one of these different angles.
Okay.
So it's a variety show, in other words.
Right.
So they're linked. But there's very small little links that you have to really listen to and even look at the titles or maybe the artwork or something that's going to lead you to the next one and so forth and so on, and then you will see the cycle and the connection and whatnot.
Very cool.
Because like I said, basically what this is that, getting back to the record label thing, is that it's my production company, Dimensional Waves, which we go out and we, like I said, we license our material to different record labels, to different places. You know, that's the way we want to do things instead of being signed to someone, because that's what fits, you know, our business needs. Being signed to someone just would not be suitable for us. So we designed something here that's kind of unique, and not everyone can follow this. And a lot of people are not going to agree with what we do, and so forth and so on, and they're going to say, like, you know, you're taking music and giving it to everybody else around the world and all the rest of this. But actually, that doesn't matter, because as long as the people who listen to these records are satisfied, to me, that's all that matters. I don't care who's getting rich off this money and so forth and so on, you know, because that's not what I'm all about. Because if I'm not making myself rich, why should I make somebody else rich? I'm spreading the wealth around the world.
Right.
And as long as the people keep getting the quality music that they're receiving, that's all that matters to me. And so far, it's working, and I'm happy.
That's all that counts.
I'm extremely happy, because the people are happy. If the people are not happy, I'm not happy. Something has to be done.
Right.
So.
Very cool. And the title for the new album, Harness the Storm, is a little different, meaning other titles make reference to certain places, voyages, and especially water. This one appears to be more turbulent, or has like an element of chaos involved. Does this relate to the music directly on the album?
It relates to this whole situation with the 7 storms that's brewing.
Okay.
It took a year to put together these 7 albums, and it was very, very violent, very chaotic in a lot of different ways. You know, it's ups and downs, just like I said, if you're in the middle of a storm or a tornado, I mean, you have ups, you have your downs. You know, you have element of all the elements that there is on this planet exist, from water to air to probably have fire and electricity. You have every damn thing. You know, might have a cow or a trucker mixed up in there too. So, and that's basically the images that we perceived when we made the music, and that's how the concepts come about. You know.
Very cool.
So yes, to answer that question,
It had a lot to do with the
the
music.
album and everything that was going on around us was very turbulent.
Okay. And with techno as a whole, it's been known as a faceless, nameless music. But with Drexciya and its side projects, you've taken this concept to another level, creating a mysterious aura behind the artists involved and whatnot. Is this just an extreme emphasis on the concept of it's all about the music, or is there a lot more to it?
No, that's what it is. And we basically want to put all the energy into the music and the concepts, and that's more fun than focusing in on the artist or record label. Because when you have, you know, concepts that you can actually think about, and it might be a mystery there, or it might not be a mystery, just fun to get into the concept. You know, it makes you think a little deeper about things in your life, you know. And to me, it makes the music exciting. So without it, it would just be very dull, and like you said, it'd just be faceless and nameless. And it's here today and it's going tomorrow. But we try to make it a little bit interesting, so where it's going to be around for a long time. So if you come back 20 years down the line or play it for somebody else and show them, and you can tell a story behind it. You know, it has a reason to exist, you know, a purpose. It lives, it breathes. You can smell it, you can taste it. You know, it's not like fast food. This is a home-cooked meal, you know, full course.
Right.
So, you know, it's very, very, very important to us, you know. That's why sometimes it takes some time that we back away from things, and, you know, that's why it might be away for a year or so, and so forth and so on, or however, so.
And the word techno today is so misused and bastardized, I think. You know, from the commercial dance music you hear on the radio to just harsh, minimal rhythms, people call it techno. What's your definition of techno?
Well, actually, techno is just basically just all electronic music in general. I mean, that's the way I see it. You know, but the thing is is that, like you're saying, with the record labels, the major record labels coming in here and they trying to get into electronic music, techno, but they wouldn't do it their way. And, you know, in other words, they're taking it, take out what they want and throw the rest of it in the garbage. And then they put out garbage because it's half done. You know, and as far as techno, I mean, you have to really put it next to the word electronic music, because right now it's so many different categories and so many people doing it and people calling it, you know, so many different music styles and people calling it that, they kind of lost this element to where, you know, back in the day it was just like one or two different styles or whatever, or three, but that doesn't exist anymore. So basically you just have to, it's like a generic name, a generic title now, you know. So everybody just have to just go under the title of the techno or electronic music. It really has no definition to me no more.
All right.
That's the reason why we do what we do. Just make music.
Exactly.
You know? So it's sad to say, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. And with your music, it's like a high tech, you know, future electro funk, unlike anything that's out there now. But at the same time, there's things I sometimes hear in music today and recognize a bit of Drexciya in it. But just when we think we have it all figured out, you throw a musical curveball and evolve the sound to new heights. You think it's important to evolve or just kind of stick to what you know?
Oh, man, you have to go forward. You have to go forward. I mean, just like time goes forward and just like the earth turns and the landscape changes, you have to change as the people change. You know, because if you stay with the same thing, eventually you will become dated. And if you become dated, you're in trouble. You know, you're going to be behind. If you're going to stand in the forefront of the cutting edge and be a leader, you have to lead and cut a new path. And sometimes you might hit a brick wall, but you're going to have to find a way to either go around the brick wall, over it, or go through it. You know, and you have to have a lot of heart, a lot of guts, and willing to make a lot of sacrifices, you know, to do that. And
yeah, and some people unfortunately don't have that quality, and they just kind of get stuck, and then that's it.
Yeah, well,
kind of like the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it happens.
Right.
You know, but like I said, it really goes back to the beginning. You know, your purpose. You know, what is your meaning? Why are you making music? You know, do you love this, or are you here for the perks, which is, you know, money, fame, glory, jet setting around the world? You know, have people telling you you're the greatest, or are you doing this because you love the music?
Right.
You know, and if you love the music, then you'll be one of them kind of people that's going to be a leader, and you're going to be here for a long time, and, you know, you're going to change things. I mean, nobody says that you have to 100% change your style. I mean, say for instance, like with 808, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll still use the 808 in the future sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, but that's what we do. But yet and still, like you're saying, every now and then I'll throw you a little curveball to keep you on your P's and Q's. You know, there's nothing wrong with change-ups. And that's the one thing that I really like. You'll never see it coming. I'll give you some stuff, but you'll never see it coming. Just like these 7 albums here. You know, you're going to be very surprised and shocked on, I'm pretty sure, the difference between Other People Place and Translucent and the Drexciya, the next ones that's coming up too. I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite a few differences in there, you know. So, but you have to have that. It's very important. It's very, very important.
Right. Okay. And you talk a lot about places like Lardosa, the Red Hills, and have even ventured into Neptune's lair. What are these places like? You think, you know, can we ever have places like this in today's society?
No. Sorry, this planet is going to have to be rearranged. In other words, what I'm trying to say is it's going to have to be a great flood again and destroy everything and restart. Somebody got to hit the restart button, because right now, I don't think so. You know, somebody opened up the Pandora's box and all hell's breaking loose, so. And that's why, you know, hey, I'm pushing the gas. I'm putting out, you know, more stuff with, you know, the kind of images and things that we're doing with Drexciya to take people away from here.
Right.
In other words, I feel like Noah's Ark. So I'm loading up the Drexciya Ark and taking your mind on a trip away from here for a while. So.
Very cool. And in your worldly travels, who would you say is the most receptive to the music of Drexciya? Is it a particular place, or do you?
I haven't been anywhere.
Okay, so no live performances, nothing like that.
No, I haven't left here yet. No.
Wow.
I haven't left the country. No, I refuse to do that. I have too much work to do here.
Wow. Okay.
I haven't left the country, man. I told you, I don't. I've been extremely busy around here doing this stuff. I mean, I'm getting to the point to where the calling is starting to come to me. Get ready to go do performances, but it's not there yet because one of the main things that makes me tick is how I feel. I go on vibes. I listen to that inner voice that tells me what to do, and I do it. And one of the things was told in my inner voice was a long time ago: stay home. Don't go nowhere. You have lots of work to do here. Focus on what you're doing. Master what you do. Don't half-ass do this.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you can see it in the music and the concepts that I work very hard and focus solely on just that, not anything else. So, but that calling is starting to come around. So, I think I might start gear up for that. To go and do little spots here and there, but I would never do a major tour like 20 shows here and there and, going around the world on a world tour. I would never do that. The way I would do it is like I do with these record labels and doing my business, which is called wave jumping. If you go back to the record Wave Jumper, what that really was what we do with the business with Dimensional Waves, which is we pop up in different spots around the world and do releases. That's what a true definition of what a wave jumper is. We just pop up somewhere, and there it is. We're here for a second, then we're gone. So basically, same thing about going out on tour. We'll pop up somewhere unannounced. You would never see it coming. Then we're gone.
Very cool.
You would probably have how sometimes they do the underground parties to where a day before, a couple hours before the party going on, they'll tell you where it's at.
Yep.
We'll end up probably doing that. It'd be like 20 minutes before a show. Of course we won't be on stage yet because everybody, got to get there. It'd be like, yeah, Drexciya live, Japan somewhere in the, blew out water tank and shit, down in the seaport or something, I don't know. Submarine park downtown somewhere, I don't know. But, so that's how it would be.
Very cool. And what musically influenced the sounds of Drexciya and sparked the whole idea?
It all comes from within, man, because I shut myself down from all other music, all other musicians, everything, and I solely rely on internal knowledge. With whatever I come up with, what we come up with is what we come up with. And that's the way I have to have it. That's the reason why I don't go to parties. That's why I don't listen to the radio when I'm producing. That's why I don't listen to mixtapes. That's why I don't listen to no other records. I don't talk to anybody else because I don't want nobody else's ideas, no whatsoever, no vibes whatsoever when I'm in some heavy production.
Right.
So it has to be, when I'm concerned, it has to be pure. It has to come straight from me, from us.
Seclusion.
But, listen, I love techno. I love electronic music. I love my friends. But at certain times, I have to take care of business and I have to shut everybody down.
Right. Very cool. And water is the most important or powerful element on Earth. And when I look at it, I find it brilliant how water is tied in with your music. The water's feeding the music, making it so powerful.
Right.
And water seems so central to Drexciyan philosophy.
Right.
That's some deep stuff there.
Right. Like I said, but you got to think, it's more than just power there. I mean, it's a lot of elegance. It's a lot of creativity, innovation that comes with water. I mean, think about it. I think, then they say we came from out the ocean or something like that. Some little four-legged creature, well, two legs, whatever it said, two of the legs didn't work, so. But, I mean, it's a lot of things that's still going on in the ocean right now, undiscovered territories, uncharted areas and stuff like that. And I adopted the same way that you view the waters, the depths and so forth and so on, and the creatures and undiscovered territories. It's the same way I see the music. That's the way I like to approach it, because I want it to be endless. I want it to be as innovative as it possibly could be. I want it to be the most creative. I want it to be that spark of life, for whatever I do. So that's the reason why I adopted the whole background and the whole theme of water, because it's longevity. Water was here at the beginning before we existed. Water's going to be here after we go away. So it's beautiful. That's something. And think about this. Do you know of anyone who can create water from other elements on the planet?
Nope.
There's no way that what is this stuff? I mean, how can you make water if it doesn't already exist? I mean, yes, you have molecules and all the rest of that stuff, but outside of this planet, how can you make more water than that's already here? If you have Lake Michigan, how can you produce the equivalent of Lake Michigan water? Not taking it from some other place on the planet, how can you create that in a lab? Because if they could do that, don't you think we all would be drinking fresh water instead of contaminated water? They would have already dumped all this water on this planet and made totally fresh water in the areas that's needed.
Yeah.
I mean, in the the salty oceans and stuff, you can't do that because you will mess all the ecosystems up. But in the fresh water, don't you think that they would already clean all that water out to where we all would have clean water if they can actually do that? So that's what I'm saying. That's a very interesting, very marvelous element that people just take for granted and just don't understand. Once that goes, basically you're done. Air is very important too, but hey, water, you're done. Your body is what? What's the percent on your body water? Is majority.
Mm-hmm.
So without it, you're done. So
powerful stuff. Very powerful. And in relation to Detroit, what's the scene, or how are things there these days? I mean, how do you find yourself fitting it? How does Drexciya fit in with the city and everything like that?
I don't know. I haven't been around anyone, so I don't. Like I said, number one, look, technically, I never based Drexciya off of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I just so happen to live here. Like I said, what if I lived in Alaska for the past 5, 6 years, 10 years? My music is still being produced the same way that I'm doing it here, and you still would be thinking that it's the Detroit sound. But then, if I came up and say I've been living in, like I said, Alaska for the past 10 years, how can you say that? I'm sad to say that, but I haven't based the foundation of Drexciya and the whole concept and everything around Detroit and the things that goes on in Detroit, because I shelter myself away from the stuff that goes on in Detroit. Like I said earlier, I shut myself down. I stay away from everybody because I don't want any outside elements whatsoever creeping itself into it. Like I said, back in the day when I did some of those records, whatever, when I was with some of the guys, yeah, that was done for a specific reason. Because these guys was doing something, I was like, okay, I'm in with it. But that was that. But the overall beginning and the whole 9 yards of what we're all about has nothing to do with Detroit. It has to do with Drexciya. Drexciya is a whole different plane of reality. And that's the way I like to keep it. I don't like to intertangle it because within the next month or so, I'm relocating offices down to Atlanta. Are people still going to be calling Detroit Techno?
Right.
I'm not going to tell anybody I'm in Atlanta. But are they still going to be calling that? Probably 9 times out of 10 they are if they don't know that I'm in Atlanta.
Very true.
But if that's, if that's the stigma that's on it, I'm not going to change it. I was born and raised here, and whatever people want to think, I let them think that. That's one thing with me. I believe in a free thought, free mind. Whatever you want to call the music, if you want to call it electro, you want to call it techno, you want to call it space music, that's up to you to call it what you want to. I'm not going to correct you.
Mm-hmm.
All thing I'm going to do is point you in the right direction with it and say, okay, we're going this way, and let you take it from there. Because that's the fun of it.
Right. Okay. And what can we expect from Drexciya in the future? The 7 storms, obviously.
Yeah, that within the course over the next I say this stuff probably going to be still being released all the way up until the first of next year. So that's probably, to give it enough room to breathe with the next one that's coming out. So the next group that's coming out is called Abstract Thoughts. I can give you that name.
Okay.
Like I said, that should be out within the next month or two. So just keep a band on that. And the last three, I think I'm going to keep that one, keep those three as a mystery after that. Because I'm pretty sure you'll catch up on it. Maybe little hints and stuff, so.
Very cool. And any last thoughts or comments on what, on anything Drexciyan or anything you want to tell the people out there?
Yeah, just stay deep. Keep drinking from the pond. Keep drinking from the pond. Look in the mirror and tell me, who do you see? Do you see you or do you see me?
Cool. All right. Well, I thank you very much for taking the time to share some of your thoughts and speak with me. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, no problem.
And looking forward to it. I got it all. So I'm waiting for the next stuff to come out, and it was a surprise to me. So I'm looking forward to this Abstract Thoughts and all the other LPs you'll be releasing. So I'll definitely have to keep my eyes to the water.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. I will actually email you a quick email when I have this all transcribed and stuff, and let you take a peek at it as well, and I'll let you know when that's all done.
Okie doke.
Okie doke.
All right now.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.